Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Fantasy Football Touchback. I'm Chris.
I'm Megan, and as promised, we are coming to you live from Buffalo, New York, because we're going to the game tomorrow. We're going to go really, really quickly through everything since it's so late here in Buffalo. Chris, why don't you get us started with how we did last week?
I will, and we did not do good. And we're sleepers by position. We started with Michael Penix Jr., which, again, overall, not a bad game, just not as much as we thought it was going to do. Good news is no turnovers, so that's always a plus when it comes to your quarterback position. Chuba Hubbard, he is was probably the top performer of our sleepers last week, and this week probably should have another good game against the Falcons. This is where it starts to hurt. Calvin Austin did not do anything. The Steelers completely dropped the ball on that one. Jake Tongs, he stepped in, he got 7 targets, so at least he was getting the target share that George Kittle was, but he just didn't bring it in like we were hoping he would.
He might do better this week, though. It was his really first time being part of the team and being the one who was going to receive all the targets.
Also, and not to mention the fact that it's Mac Jones behind the center again for another week, so they're going to work together. That is so not something to be too unsure about. Matt Prater, he was our second top performer. Kickers do matter, with 11 points in most fantasy football leagues for those PPR leagues. And in the Chargers, yes, they had sacks, they had points not given up too much, but overall, they just did not do what they were planning on doing. So that is what our sleepers were last week. As for the absolute locks that we had, again, we didn't play it as well as we thought we were going to do. Kyler Murray was, again, no turnovers, but he also didn't really do much. We didn't get to see him with that connection with Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride. It felt like they were always trying to play catch up, and he just was not the dual threat that we absolutely thought he would be. Derrick Henry.
We didn't really see him this week. Like, compared to the week 1 against the Bills, we expected to see more because he did so well. So obviously Baltimore's doing a lot of work there and trying to make it so that they're not always going to Derrick Henry, but definitely somebody you still want to consider on your teams.
I would never not start him if I had him on my team. Another shocker, Cortland Sutton. He was the number 1 target for Bo Nix the week prior, and he didn't get a reception until the late third quarter. So it was helped me out because I was facing him in a fantasy league, but still, it was one of those things where I thought he was going to destroy us. Jake Ferguson, that was great. Yeah. That one was great. Absolutely looks like he's back on that upswing. So if he is in your league in free agency, especially with all these injuries that we're dealing with right now, you want to make sure to pick him up. Or if you had him on the bench, it's time to start starting him. Cam Little, I like this kid. I like this kid a lot. Second-year kicker, and, he's just consistent. Very consistent. Hasn't missed a kick all year so far, and he's getting anywhere from 12 to 15 points a game. And the Rams' defense.
Yeah, I feel like the Rams are still we're waiting to see, as far as what they're going to bring and how we're going to see them move on this year. So definitely would stick with those Rams for right now at least and see what happens in the future.
Yeah. And now for our trap players that we had, and this was kind of a hit or miss. It kind of fell into the trap. They didn't explode, but they completely weren't shut down. So Jaden Daniels.
Or they got injured.
Yeah, well, that too, which tends to be a common thing with the trap players. But so Jaden Daniels just didn't have a big game. We didn't expect him to have a big game, but it wasn't a bad game either. He didn't have any turnovers, but he got sacked multiple times, which is always a difficult thing with him. Jonathan Taylor.
Apparently he's decided to be the comeback player of the year.
Yeah, he's going for that rushing record.
Yeah.
Jonathan just absolutely killed us on that one. Stephon Diggs.
We saw him a little bit, but still not very much.
Yeah, I think he had 5 receptions total last week. So again, it was something where we didn't expect him to do much, but he also did more than I expected him to do. And Travis Kelce, because, they don't have anybody else, that's who Mahomes is relying on. But Kelsey also dropped a few passes, especially
and
that one.
Missed some routes. He definitely, we've seen week 1 he ran into Xavier Worthy. This week he went completely in the wrong direction, but at the same time, Kansas City is playing the Giants this week.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Travis Kelsey on your team, probably a good idea to start.
Probably one of those locks if we were doing it this week. Young Wei Koo, he was a healthy scratch. So if that tells you anything, he's probably off. If you don't have him, go find Cam Little, go find Schrader, go find some other kicker that actually is hitting those kicks. Not McLaughlin of the Buccaneers, because he's decided that he's done with football kicking. He'll get paid, but he's not making those stuff. So I would steer away from him. What about Seattle?
Seattle, I feel like same thing, right? We're really interested in the defenses this year because they're the makers or breakers of the game, and I feel like I still don't really trust Seattle, and I think that they have a lot to prove. So if you have them, maybe, but I'm not really excited about Seattle.
I got you. All right, let's go ahead and get to this week's games.
Yeah, so this week, since we're kind of in a down to the bare minimum, we don't have any of our fun stuff to show you guys. We're just going to go week by week, team by team, and the different matchups, and tell you which players on those teams to start versus going by each individual player. So, Chris, I'll let you talk about this game.
Well, we're here in Buffalo. Obviously, this is what we do as much as we possibly can. We have decided to see the Buffalo Bills hopefully trounce the Miami Dolphins, as we kind of, and the rest of the league is kind of expecting them to do. The one thing that we want to make sure that we get this week is Josh Allen. He had no touchdowns last week, which was an incredibly shocking thing, but what did I say? Josh doesn't play very well in the Meadowlands, so you kind of...
He still had more yards than the Jets did.
Oh, true. But the Jets only had 154 yards total, which is insane. So the Bills' defense, excellent. That's what we wanted to see, but I expect Josh. He loves to absolutely just cut up the Dolphins. And then also with that, you have James Cook probably going to do well as well. But look out for Joshua Palmer. I kind of have a feeling that he is going to just skyrocket. I'm waiting for him to just go. He's getting open. He keeps getting those long bombs, and so they're going to hook up eventually. But Matt Prater also on the Bills doing an incredible job with his kicking. Hasn't missed anything. They've extended his kicking leg from 45 yards in week 1 to 52 yards. And he hit a 52-yard field goal last week, so maybe we'll get to 55, but I think that's stretching it a bit.
And in most PPR leagues, the longer they go, the more points you get. So you want to definitely pick up a kicker that can make those longer stretches. Obviously, consistency is key. If they can hit those 30s, then you're getting them every single time in the point afters. But when you have a kicker that can do the longer ones, then you want those guys, and especially when they use them.
Right, and once we get to the Dallas game, we'll explain exactly why on that. And Bills defense, they're home. This could be a really good. I expect Bosa to eat quite well, so expect high amounts of sacks and a couple fumbles out of the Bills defense. As for the Dolphins, I think they're going to probably stick on the run game. I would bench Tua because Tua always gets injured against the Bills. It happens more often than not. So I would probably bench Tua just to anticipate that. And Jaden Wright, the rookie running back for the Dolphins this year, is actually supposed to be able to start this game. But we will see. So I kind of expect the running backs to be a big part of the Dolphins. What do you think about their wide receivers?
I think that their wide receivers are not going to touch the ball. I think that the Bills defense is going to take away any throwing arm that Tua or anybody else has. So I really just wouldn't start them.
Yeah, Waddle's dealing with a hamstring issue right now, and Tyreek Hill is creating drama, which is being Tyreek Hill. Exactly. All right. Week 2, or second game. Sorry. Week 3. Long night, guys. Rams and Eagles. Megan, go ahead.
Obviously. Philadelphia Eagles are coming off of their big win against the Kansas City Chiefs last week. You know, they've won twice over the Chiefs, and they're really feeling great about themselves. I wouldn't take anybody on the Rams this week. Matt Stafford is not going to put up a good game against Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley, and
that defense is hard.
yeah. So, what about the Packers and the Browns, Chris?
I'm going to be real quick with this. Packers, Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, Romeo Doubs. Next. I mean, that's pretty much it, guys. You have Hugh Jenkins on the Browns. He's going to be starting up, but he's not really startable yet. I don't think they're going to do much. So after that, we have the Bengals and the Vikings at 1 o'clock. This is a toss-up game, guys. Really, I don't, unless you have one of the elite players, I don't think you play anybody from this. So just
Joe Burrow is out.
Yeah.
Until December,
Yeah.
more than likely. So we don't know what to expect from that team. You know, how much work they've done without him and are prepared. So toss-up game for sure. We don't really like the Vikings either. So
yeah, but J.J. McCarthy, people are they're saying, no, but bench him and let's bring in new guys. And it's something that we're not expecting. Next game, go ahead.
Texans Jags, same sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Where not necessarily the injury bugs as much, just not two teams that are doing super well. Or they're probably going to play a very close game, but not a high scoring game.
Yeah.
So probably want to maybe try. Why can't I remember his name right now, Chris?
C.J. Stroud.
C.J. Stroud, yes. Maybe try C.J. Stroud.
No.
Gosh, who else? I can't even think of anybody else right now.
But that's the point. I mean, the Houston Texans, you don't have the weapons there that are going. The one thing that these two teams, they always score at least 20 points each. So kickers are going to be a premium in this. So start the kickers if you have the kickers. Cam Little and Fairbairn. And so that brings us to another AFC matchup between the Colts and the Titans. Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones, he is starting to show up. If you have a super flex, this might be the week to do it because he's facing the Titans, and the Titans' defense can stop anybody. So this would be the week. Again, Jonathan Taylor, like we just talked about with the sleepers and the trap players, and making us look like fools. Jonathan Taylor, okay, making me look like a fool. Jonathan Taylor is someone I would absolutely start. I don't know where Michael Pittman is. But Tyler Warren, if you have him, he is a absolute every week starter. So that's where we would go with that. Megan, do you want to talk about another team that's just another game that's just kind of up in the air with the Raiders and the Commanders?
I really want to see the AFC West do well. And I think all of the teams that I've said in the previous weeks are really trying to vie for that position because the Chiefs are just losing games and just not showing up at all. You know, here I feel like the Raiders are going to potentially do better, but I'm not like 100% definitely do that. Definitely look at your news, look at your fantasy points, because same sort of thing where we're not sure what's going to happen with that game.
Yeah, the Commanders have a lot of injuries that are up in the air on defense and with Jaden Daniels. Check your news. You have Marcus Mariota stepping in at the press conference today. So usually that's not a good sign when the backup is saying, I'm talking to the press. So just if you are expecting to have Jaden Daniels, I would seriously look at your backup for this week. Next, we're going to talk about another game that should be fairly fast to get through is the Falcons and the Panthers.
Falcons.
And Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah.
That's about it. Kyle Pitts is doing well. Michael Penix is going to do well. The kicker, I would just stay away from the kickers. But Bijan Robinson, the kid is absolutely just on fire.
Yeah.
So next up is the Steelers and the Patriots. We have a little bit more to talk about here.
Steelers, we feel like they're showing up, they're playing good games, but the Patriots are kind of doing the same sort of thing. They're starting to make connections and working really hard to make those plays, and
they're knocking off that rust from preseason.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like they're also feeling like they have something to step up for too, with becoming second after those Bills. But I don't know who I would pick in this game.
Yeah. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, you have DK Metcalf and Jalen Warren. Those are kind of the only people I would go with. I don't trust any of the Patriots players. I mean, you have Steph Diggs, you have Demario Douglas. The running backs, it's 1 week, one running back's going to get all the thing, and then the other one gets nothing.
And it feels like the coaches are like butting heads a lot on the Patriots, where they'll have a really good play, but then the next one they're not communicating at all. Yeah, so it feels like there's a lot of chaos.
Like in the middle of a rebuild,
right?
Which is exactly what they are. So that's just be cautious with those players, guys. This is really a game that's going to be very, very just a week that's going to be very up in the air. We have injuries and a lot of that kind of stuff, but everything's starting to work out. Next up is going to be the Jets and Buccaneers.
No, you start.
Okay, Jets. None of them. Don't start any of them. Buccaneers are going to stop the run game. They're going to stop. Let's see. Who is it? It's not Justin Fields because he's out with concussion.
Right.
So Tyrod Taylor, excellent backup quarterback.
Did really well last week when he came in.
Yeah, but again, he was doing that against backup quarterbacks against backups because the Bills slept everybody in that fourth quarter. So I don't know if Tyrod's going to be able to produce as much magic, but I would just steer away from your Jets players at this point and go straight Buccaneers, except for their kicker, which we're mad at. Broncos, Chargers, Megan.
Chargers. I mean, I love the Broncos this year. I think they're doing really, really well, but the Chargers are showing up as that team to beat, and I definitely would choose Chargers players over Broncos players. You know, maybe the Bo Nix. Like you said, Cortland Sutton in the...
We just expect it.
Yeah, so maybe, but definitely start those Chargers players over the Broncos.
That's exactly where I would go, is the Chargers. Really, it's just overall, you're just going to get a very consistent performance out of them. Saints and Seahawks, don't bother. Sam Darnold, Smith and Jigma. That's it. That's done. Cowboys and Bears. It's a toss-up. I mean, this is something where it could be a points fest and they're just throwing the ball over the yard, or nobody can find the right where their feet are. So honestly, Dak and CD Lamb, so your normals, and then you have Caleb Williams, Adunze, and and the running back. It's not coming, but if you have him, you know who he is, DeAndre Swift. So that's something where make sure that you go ahead and just watch your news. That matchup could be where you want it. All right, we're almost done. Cardinals and 49ers. Injury quarterback on the 49ers. Injury tight end on the 49ers. Christian McCaffrey. That's it. And he can do it again.
Prone to injury.
Right. So, but if he's the only weapon, then you know the Cardinals are just going to stack the box. So be prepared. Cardinals, Murray, Harrison, McBride, those are always usual starters. Harrison and McBride definitely. Murray, if you have one of these other injured quarterbacks, which you probably do off of this, that's where I would go ahead and slot him in.
I would say Murray for sure. I ended up sitting Marvin Harrison last week, and for good measure,
for you,
because it was... I won my game last week.
You do what we have to.
So I might not start Marvin Harrison again this week. Speaking of which, we need to remember to start before the game tomorrow night.
Yes.
But yeah, so just be cautious.
Chiefs, Giants. Start the Chiefs. I realize Kelsey, Mahomes. That's it. Pacheco, let's see if he can actually do something. But those two, they need to get on the same level. If not, they're going to have a real tough time the rest of the year. Lions and Ravens are going to be absolute shootout. That's what it is. So if you have them, play them. They're going to score on.
And it's Monday Night Football.
Yeah. Defenses, I would stay far away from both of those defenses. Make sure to like and subscribe now.
Those are our picks for all of the players that should be playing and doing well in the games for this week. Buy the games. We're not going to talk about the sleepers or the the traps or any of that kind of stuff this week because we have to get to bed because we're going to the game tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll be in one of the end zones. So next week we'll come back. We'll deal with all those injuries that we have gotten from this last week and for what's going to come in this next week. And remember, bye weeks are coming up. So lots of
week
things,
4?
Week 4, so that would be next week. So get ready for a little bit more of a breakdown on that. And I think that does it. So as we always say, nobody circles the wagons like CTW. Thanks. See ya.